waffles, toast. Eggs, bacon, waffles, toast. Web3 breakfast, J changes the host with the morning. What's up, J Change? Turbo made it co-hosting, yeah, they do their thing. If you savvy, Web3 GM, grab a plate in a seat, let's begin. If you got something to say, come and grab a mic. We got one rule, no douchebag, alright? Retweet the room, bring some friends. If you start to talk, you gon' stay to the end. Retweet the room, bring some friends. If you start to talk, you gon' stay to the end. Monday through Friday, we got the syrup. 10 a.m. Eastern Spaces with the purpose. All about the community focus, they deserve it. Come and speak your mind with no regrets, but you serve us. Pizza on Friday, working off midway. Get the blood pumping, Web3 music is thumping. I got eggs, bacon, waffles, toast. Eggs, bacon, waffles, toast. Eggs, bacon, waffles, toast. Web3 breakfast, J changes the host with the most. Retweet the room, bring some friends. If you start to talk, you gon' stay to the end. Retweet the room, bring some friends. If you start to talk, you gon' stay to the end. Good morning.
What is up, GM fam? I'm excited about today. You know why I'm really excited about today? I wasn't going to live stream the rest of this week because I totally figured that yesterday's show was going to get pulled off of YouTube, but it didn't. So fuck it. Let's do it again. Let's run it. We're running it all week. We're putting these babies on YouTube. We'll see how long it'll last, but till they give us the middle finger and shut us down, we'll keep doing the same thing right back at them. How are we feeling?
Bro, you're gonna be famous in no time.
Shut up. We don't actually, I don't want to get like the channel shut down or anything. We'll just start a new one though, which I think we're gonna do anyway once we have a studio. But hey,
yeah. We're here.
We're here, man. We're doing it.
We did it. We made it.
We're here, man. Dude, I was looking at some things this morning really quick before we get back into like all the conspiracy theory shit. I was looking at some man, you could get a coda right now. If anybody is interested in like the Yuga stuff, you literally can get a coda for 5.65 ETH. That's insane. I've never seen them that low.
Pretty crazy.
And never been that low. And those fuckers are gonna be like, that's gonna be like the key, one of the keys to the other side. I have one. I recommend if you got the 5 and 5.6 ETH, scoop that one off the floor. If I had it, I would get it. I'd probably sweep a couple of these things if I had a bunch of ETH. That and the doggos.
We're about to have a bunch of ETH.
I want to get a kennel club. I'm going to get a couple dogs too, because I feel like those things are they're so rated and undervalued. And then maybe there's like some talks now where like, you know, if you've got the MVKs or whatever the heck those things are, or the kennel club, like you might maybe get like one entrance into like Ape Fest versus, you know, if you've got the ape or the mutant, you get the +1. And I heard it's in Miami. I don't know, Matthew. I don't know if you want to come up and talk about any of that before we get into the conspiracy theory stuff. We can chop it up for a few minutes, but I know we know it's in Miami. We just don't know when yet, unless that's been announced and I missed it. Here we go.
Oh no,
GM fam.
Well, you know, I mean, I think. Hey, oh, there's Matthew.
What's up, fam? I'm here for a minute because I got my workout going early this morning. But yeah, apparently they dropped some alpha on some of the channels that it's going to be in Miami, likely end of September or early October. So very interesting.
Oh, I love that timing. That is going to be a great time of year. I think you know, that'll be a perfect time to be down in Florida. Although I think is that right before hurricane season? Hurricane season runs from November to April, or is it April to November? It's one of the two.
As a resident of Durham, where the Carolina Hurricanes are from, I can tell you that I absolutely do not know. So hopefully we'll be okay.
I love that. Oh, that's amazing. But yeah, I think there's a couple of us that you know, in the Web3 Breakfast fam that will definitely be descending down to Miami for that.
I mean, it'll be interesting too. Like if there were some, like I know we've got a couple apes. Like if we had spaces to either auction off or partner with tickets, like if there were ways to get other people to come from the Web3 Breakfast, that'd be pretty legit too.
Oh, dude. So like you guys know that we've invested in the ethereal thing, and when that thing turns on, like I'm gonna scoop up some more Yuga assets, and if that's the case, like we'll definitely do a giveaway because that's just how things are looking with that. But also, it will be the type of thing where we could have the community wallet and people can go in and use like the token gate thing through token proof, and yeah, we could definitely give spots to people in the community without having to like give assets away and stuff. And so there's going to be all sorts of ways to like get everybody involved in this fun shit. And Carrie, we're coming up to see you. I just have to make sure that I'm actually allowed up there. This is a full disclosure moment, but I had a DUI a number of years ago and I had trouble getting into Canada one time because of it. I don't know if that's still a thing. So they don't like you for weed and they don't like me for drinking. Interesting.
Such a weird thing.
Yeah.
Such a weird thing. I mean, like, you think they would start with maybe some of the, more important things like murder or, I'm even cool with like not letting letting deadbeat dads in. I'm cool with that too. Like, if you didn't pay your child support and shit, like, I get that too. But come on, man.
Like, I think like literally like a murderer would have an easier time getting to Canada than me. Like, so we went up for this was a number of years ago. It's interesting. The fire alarm is going off at my house. Hopefully we're all right. Whitney, give me a thumb up if I'm okay to stay in my office or if I need to evacuate. Okay, we're good. That was an interesting.
Who's burning the Web3 breakfast?
Right? I got to know what's happening. We'll find out. Well, maybe we'll bring Whitney up here and figure out what just happened there. Maybe some bacon was getting cooked. You never know. I don't smell bacon.
Man, every time I cook, the fire alarm goes off.
Who's a fire alarm does? I see someone in the crowd, Annie. I see, anytime that she cooks or bakes, I guarantee you her alarm does not go off because that stuff is way too pretty. If you've never seen her, how do you actually say it? I'm going to say it wrong. I know that I will. The macaroons, the macaron, I believe. Did I get it there? Yes.
A macaron.
Macaron. If you've never seen some of her stuff, you click on Annie's page anyways, and you look up at some of that food that she's making. I'll tell you what, incredible design. I wish that I had to me, it'd be like one of those things. Did you ever see the Pinterest fails websites where the one that always stands out of my mind is the guy did like with the Cookie Monster and like the example was perfect. It looked so good. And then the one that they did looked like melted jalopy messes.
Yeah, I always laugh at those, because if you would just take a little bit more time and not try to rush it, you know what I'm saying? Like, you would be able to get a much nicer cake. I mean, because you can see when shit's hitting the fan, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, people are just rushing. And they're like, well, I'm not a baker anyway, so who cares? No, man, if you're going to do it, at least do it right. You know what I'm saying? Take the time and do it right.
Okay. Really quick, I'm going to post, let's get into this pretty soon here. I did just post up into the Nest. So I'm working with Unstoppable Domains. We're going to try to get some more people some custom domains with their addresses and all that kind of fun things. So we'll run a little contest this week. We'll just do a Twitter picker based off of that. 5 winners each get $20. I think like you could get the .wallet, .x for $20. There's .crypto, .dow, .888. There's a couple of like different addresses that you can get that are a little bit more expensive, but it'll help people get part of their digital identity going. So love the folks over there at Unstoppable Domains. I think Sandy, we should probably I've talked to Unstoppable. I've got her email. So we just need to get her scheduled. But I would love to have Sandy on the show from Unstoppable Domains come in here and talk about what they got going on and what they're doing. Because the ENS stuff is great. Like I've got the jchains.eth. I've got .eth for everybody in my family. But the one thing about the .eth is that you've got to renew those things. And you just got to make sure that you're either on top of it or you set that reminder to get that email when you come up for your expiration. But what the cool thing about Unstoppable Domains is that they never expire. So once you get it, you own it. And that is your digital identity moving forward. So working with those folks to give some more people an opportunity to secure that digital identity. So if that's something you're interested in, hop in on that. All you got to do, because it's going to be a Twitter picker. So just, make sure that you're following both Unstoppable, myself, and then retweet it. Retweet is the most important thing because that's how Twitter picker works.
And, what's also great too is that with that, if you are looking for an ENS, they do expire, like you're saying. So, just make sure you go and check that. We got some that are coming up and we're waiting on to pick up. So, not going to say the name, but, if you have one that you've been wanting and somebody has it, it might be expiring before you know it. And Jay, if you're ready to move into it, I think it'd only be right if we started off like this. Conspiracy Theory Week. with Jay Chains, Turbo Made in 4K, and the Web3 Breakfast. Bring all of your missed thoughts, your conspiracies, the things that may or may never have happened. We're going to talk about them here, and your opinion is valued. Hit the request button and join the conversation. Conspiracy Theory.
God, that was so good. You surprise me when you do stuff like that, Turbo. Like, I love that. Like, it's those small little things. It's the production value of just silly things like that. That to me, I love it. Great job. I appreciate that so much.
Thank you so much. And you know, actually, I did forget one last thing too. Happy birthday, Seven! Happy birthday, you son of a gun!
Absolutely, freaking absolutely. Happy birthday to 74K. You know that he's up here every single day with us. So give him some flowers. If you're not already following Seven, make sure that you do. And we'll get a happy Turbo. Let's get a happy birthday post going so we can get that thing sent off to the moon.
Yo, most definitely. And if you want to send anything to his wallet, you can find that at svn7, the number 7, 4k.eth. Send him something over.
It's my handle, you goofball.
What did you?
Okay, well, I was just doing like a reminder.
You're a goofball. Anyway, thank you for my happy birthday. I don't know what I'm going to do because, unfortunately, my wife got stuck at the New York airport last night because they canceled all of the flights.
Man, I saw somebody else on online. Who the heck was it? Duncan.eth. He was trying to get, I think, out to the West Coast, and he got trapped in New York too. And I think he said, in his they were flying JetBlue. They're not going to get a flight out till Thursday.
Yeah, poor unfortunate JetBlue. I think Delta is letting them get on today at 1. Maybe. That's a big fat maybe. She's so mad because it's my birthday and she had all this stuff planned for today. Not happening. I'm just going to chill and maybe we get to do some stuff tomorrow. We'll figure it out.
Or she had an extra day to think about it. She was like, you know, I'm just going to say I missed the plan. Hopefully Jay's not talking right now. I'm talking over him.
I'm dying. You're not.
No.
Oh, thank God. Okay, thank goodness. I get so nervous when I don't see a microphone. And then I'm just like yammering on. But I do see Flame with his hand up.
I was trying to
That's going to be a good changeover.
We should do this really quick. I feel like, Seven, we owe this to you. So if we could all just, anybody on stage, open up your mics, do the right thing. And if you're at home, yep. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday
to
to you.
Birthday,
Happy birthday, dear
Seven.
Happy birthday to you.
This is incredible.
Birthday to you. Birthday to you. Oh,
Happy
birthday, dear Seven. Day to you.
All right, happy birthday, man.
You son of a gun.
That was special.
Oh, that was so awesome. I can't wait to clip that and make music out of it somehow.
Oh, that's gonna be gangster, dude.
Yeah, that was probably gonna sound crazy. For sure.
Oh yeah, because none of us
So
were
Jay,
none of us were in the same time at all.
Not at all.
Which is all right.
There's like so many delays going on.
Which is all right. I think that's going to make it so much better. I'm super for it. But what you got, man?
Flame?
Yeah, I just want to give you guys your flowers. You've been doing awesome with the spaces. I've got to go Fiat Farm, and it sucks. But I came in yesterday. The panel was full. I wanted to run my conspiracy theory by you. It's one that I've curated myself. I'm a deep conspiracy theorist, so I love all your guys' stuff. But here's mine. On February 16th of this year, the Clinton Foundation partnered up with Algorand. On March 14th, 2023, Algorand's biggest hack ever, draining $9.6 million, occurred. And this comes right on the heels of the Clinton administration losing SBF and all his donation money. So my conspiracy theory is that the Clinton administration had something to do with the Algorand hacks, because none of the foundation was actually affected. Like the founder, Silvio, any of the big names, their wallets didn't get taken. It was all just the little cats. Anyways, Chains, Turbo, Seven, I love your guys' space, man. Keep crushing it. I got to go fiat farm. I love you guys, man. Happy birthday, Seth.
Flame, thank you, and thanks for dropping that on us.
Thanks, man.
Now we get to discuss, because I mean, what about, and let's for a second assume that the 6.8 billy that went missing at the Pentagon, now with the 7 billy that SBF found, is this related? Who thinks this is related? If you're watching on the video, I've got my hand up. I do. What do you guys think?
I feel like it's the big players throwing big fuck yous to each other on camera. In the media. I swear it's some big fucking chess game between all the countries and stuff.
Mhm.
And it's like they're like, oh, you lost this money? Well, guess what? We fucking found.
That's really interesting. Now, I think that is something that we have talked about on this show before, in kind of this whole theory with what's happening with, China legalizing, crypto for, consumers to trade or whatever. And then now America saying, no, we're going to sue all, and all of these, most of these same coins, are now deemed securities. So we've got to get everybody off of them. It is that whole tit for tat thing. Like, China's going in. Now USA is going to try to nuke the market to fuck up China. And then who knows if they're going to try to get back at us. It's just keep nuking the market until who's got the best entry and then let it rip. Right?
Or they could all be in cahoots and it's just a step ladder all the way down until they both get in and they all get the, shake hands at the end and laugh at us thinking they, covered the wool over our eyes again. You know what I mean? But if we just wait until the ladders, because they're going to fight back and forth. It's almost like they're buying a house and it's a counter offer and they're like, $1 trillion, fuck $1 trillion. We're going to do 2 trillion. I bet you that's what we're going to, I promise you that's what we're going to do. It's going to be like 2 brothers fighting over the last slice of pizza, man. It's going to be hilarious.
Well, I love how you use pizza as the example. Anytime that we can use pizza to relate to anything on this show, I sure appreciate that. Rose, what's happening? How are you today?
Yeah, doing good. Good morning, everyone. I think it's honestly a war between decentralized and centralized, to be honest. And they're trying to make crypto look bad, decentralized in a centralized manner, and destroy it for the decentralized people. Just my thoughts.
Just don't give in. You haven't sold your shit now, unless you absolutely have to make ends meet. Don't do it. Don't give in to this. This is all just FUD. We've all been here before. We've all seen this shit. And like you said, someone is just trying to take control and get cheaper, get their sats for cheaper. Don't let them. Don't sell your shit to these VCs. Don't sell it to the whales. Don't sell it to anybody. Keep them.
The lizard people.
Yeah.
No, I think
that we don't like that.
No, for sure. And and speaking of lizard people, and Flame was talking about old Hillary. It is I think that any time that that her name gets brought up, I try to just probably just kind of stay silent. I actually met Judy Smith, who wrote the show Scandal, and she was Bill Clinton's disaster coordinator or whatever. Whenever all this stuff hits the fan, and we were walking out of this convention. We bumped into each other on our way out, and I asked her, I said, Judy, I was like, is your stories from the show? I was like, are they true? And she was like, it's not even a half of it. And then she got in her car and she left. She's like, it's scaled down, bro. For what really goes on in the political world. I think that's probably the biggest conspiracy there is. You know what I'm saying? Or just problem that we have is all the issues that are going on in our government. That people have, we don't want to believe this shit's true because it's just terrible.
Right. You say that, and you talk about the old Clinton skis. And I just looked up. There's a Wikipedia page called the Clinton Body Count Conspiracy Theory. Very juicy. Sounds kind of perfect for this show. I'll give you the TLDR. The number is 50, totaling as many as 50 or more. And such allegations have been circulated since at least 1994. Yowza.
Did you see Ellen DeGeneres' girlfriend's car that blew up?
First off, I love that you called her Ellen DeGenerate, because I've always done that as well. That's just it was like an accident at first, but then it just became too good to not do it. And then now you know that she's a piece of shit human being, so it makes it even funnier. No, I haven't seen any part of that.
Yeah, so I guess supposedly, from what I understand, is that like her girlfriend was like coming out against something with the Clintons, and she got into a car accident, and her car exploded.
Oh shit!
Bro, I'm gonna tell you right now, I've seen many. I've even been involved in being blown up in a vehicle. I can tell you 100% that car definitely was blown up. It was like something blew it up. Like it wasn't like an internal thing. I'll have to find the picture and post it up into the nest.
No, you don't have to do that. No, you could do that. You should do that. That's all part of it. We're trying to see if we can break the system here, I guess. And I'm for it. Definitely for it.
Yeah, you got to see it, you know?
Yeah. All right. So there was we touched on this just a little bit yesterday. And I should post this up to the nest so that you guys can see this too. And so Annie tagged me on something this morning about landing on the moon, right? And you know, there was some strong opinions about how no, we've definitely done that, and you know, I don't know why we've never gone back, but anyway, so there's this video that came out from Jackstraw, and it's archived footage from Stanley Kubrick, and he requested for this stuff to be published after his death with a cover letter, which it said, among some other things, with the cooperation of the U.S. government and NASA, we faked the moon landings. All moon landings were faked, and I filmed them all. Okay. Chat amongst yourselves. I want to hear what anybody has to think about this.
Kubrick also exposed the elite in multiple ways. Even because he knew that they were going to cover it up. When he filmed The Shining, there's a whole sequence where like they pretty much like know that he did it on purpose to put the scene the way it worked, because he was trying to subliminally tell us that he was the one that filmed them just by the scenes alone. And then I don't know if you guys know, but when he filmed Eyes Wide Shut, 11 minutes of that movie never saw the light of day, and everybody thinks that's why he got killed. That's why he died all of a sudden, because he told them that if they tried to cut his 11 minutes, that he would expose everything.
Interesting. Go ahead, Matthew.
So I've always been an interesting proponent of this particular conspiracy theory. A few different facts that always strike me. One that's pretty common is that the flag doesn't really wave the way that it's supposed to. The second is that in a lot of the photos they take, there's these crosshairs that help them point the cameras. And in many photos, you can see those crosshairs behind objects, which is very, very odd. And then the third piece is that there's no crater left when the lunar lander took back off. So there's a missing crater where this thing was supposedly supposed to launch from.
Ooh, juicy. Matthew coming in with some juice. I love that. See, I got to get more into this kind of stuff. I just, you know, just based on the facts that we've never gone back. And some people said that we've gone in a different time, but like still, like why is there no moon missions like on the regular right now? Like you can go suborbit. I know that. There's that Virgin Atlantic that does that, right? Like $250,000, you can go suborbit. Which I would do. I think that would be fun to go check out, because then like you could go up there and take a picture of around Earth and send it to all the flat earthers and be like, "See, motherfucker, I told you. I told you."
I'm crying.
Yeah, but it's actually the cave of your camera lens that would give the illusion of the world being round at that point. Would be the. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I don't.
Virgin just puts you in a metaverse mask. They put an Oculus on you and they strap you to the plane and they make it seem like it's going to space. And then when you're taking pictures, you're just looking back at the screen.
That would be a metaverse experience I'd check out. And I would want it to be like in a full like. However many G's you can simulate, like I would want to feel like I was literally on the tip of a rocket ship flying through outer space. Wouldn't that be crazy?
Yeah, that would be absolutely insane. And you know, speaking of the whole like Oculus and like all the stuff that's going on with that, you're tracking the whole thing with the Titanic, right? Like they're doing a bunch of like 3D stuff, and then like it started coming out like with the whole thing about the Rothschilds, but then. I think it was like yesterday or this week they passed like all of the Western world you will have to have a license or whatever to be able to go to the Titanic. Like no one will be able just to go down there anymore.
They don't want you to know that there was no iceberg that knocked that thing out. they don't want you to know that it's actually the Olympia, not the Titanic. They swapped the ships out because the Olympia got hit by something. I forgot what happened, some crazy ass thing, and then they swapped the ships, and that's why it sank in the first place. But they did load it up with some explosives, and it blew the fuck up in the middle of the ocean. Because that's what the whole thing is that if you actually pay attention to like the wreckage of the Titanic, the inward situation that happened with the iceberg. Hello?
Can you not hear?
What'd you say?
I can hear 7 perfectly, by the way.
Oh shit. Okay.
Oh Jesus. Anyways,
All right.
I'm thinking that they're scared that they're gonna see that there are hull breaches that go out instead of in, and they're gonna go, wait a second, and there'll be like a full investigation of JP Morgan blowing that bad boy out of the water. Because there's no ships. I've never seen a ship break in half quite like the Titanic did.
Turbo, have you heard any of the other things about this? Where I have heard that it was a different ship. It was one of the other ships in the fleet. That there was the I guess people that opposed the formation of the Federal Reserve on board. And so the whole idea was to sink that thing to get rid of those guys that were probably going to successfully oppose that, if I'm not mistaken. Matthew.
Yeah, there's 4 of them.
And here's the thing too, right? Like you had all the richest people on the boat at the same time, and then the other ones just got off and left the richest man on there. You know what I'm saying? Like, and like how rich was the guy that was in that submarine? I mean, it just seems so weird that like, yo, we got him on that last time.
Do you
hit
even
him
believe?
again on this?
Do we even believe that was a real thing?
No, I don't. I think it was all baloney.
It was a distraction, right?
In my eyes, if I had $1 billion and some cuckoo guy came up to me and said, "See this thing? It can make it to the Titanic," I'd be like, "Well, I'll build one better because I have money to do it." Like, you're out of your fucking mind.
I literally would tell the guy to go fuck himself. Like, if that's what you show up to go 13,000 feet under the water in, I'd be like, "Yeah, no, thank you, buddy."
And not only that too, but like like being around people that have that kind of money, dude. There's no way in hell. You know what I'm saying? That they would have ever got in that thing. They'd have looked at them lights and shit.
Right. All of your friends would be like,
they'd rag you to death.
You're going, okay, so you're going to the Titanic, huh? He's like, yeah, man, I found this thing called Ocean Gate. And they look it up and they're like, bro, are you out of your fucking mind? That's a Logitech controller. You can get it for $32 on Amazon right now.
And they're connected to the Rothschild family. This Ocean Gate company is backed by Rothschild family money, right?
It seems to me like it was like a get out of life free card. It's almost like they wanted to have their public name and like their identity completely wiped from existence, so they didn't get X'd out for real. It feels like they put these names up there so that you could see who it was, and then you go research them and whatever, and they're billionaires, right? But they're dead now, just like all the Chinese billionaires that just so happened to just exit the scene after Evergrande fell last year. It seems like they kill their public identity and then they go live on their island somewhere. And it has to be something wild like this. Like it has to be something wild like this, because then it's like it's almost like they paid for it. You know what I mean? It's almost like they paid for the distraction. Yeah, that's part of the experience.
We'll give you a new life. We're just gonna have to implode you in this submarine that looks like a little propane cylinder. Go ahead, Caesar.
Yo, what's up, guys? Good morning.
GM.
So yeah, that's an interesting point that you guys are talking about. I think there's a high possibility that it could have been faked, but I also know that there's a high possibility that it could have been some kind of ritual sacrifice, because there are entire groups of people that are into that kind of stuff. I mean, humans have been sacrificing each other and animals and babies since the beginning of time. Like it's been a thing, right, to these gods. So I don't know, man. The other thing is I saw a video, and maybe you guys can look it up, and if there's something there, maybe it's a topic for another day. But this foundation, Ocean Gate or whatever it's called, has ties to another foundation called Terra Mar, which Ghislaine Maxwell is known to have been working. She was like the head of that or something like that. But it's this like kind of like climate activist, save the ocean type of organization or whatever. But the interesting thing, though, is a lot of the people who were on this foundation were also a lot of the people that were caught up in the whole Pizzagate scandal and the whole human trafficking thing with Hillary. So I don't know, man. There's a thing going around right now that involves them, the Evergreen cargo ships that move the big old cargo boxes overseas. And there's I don't know, man. They're saying they're trafficking these kids on these freight liners, on these ocean ships, that are just carrying tons of crates that are not inspected, that are just super easy to do it. So I don't know, man. There could be a lot of ties there.
There's some news that came out just recently, like yesterday or the day before, where J.P. Morgan deleted 47 million emails.
Well, and they also, when you talk about like the freight liners too, like they were the ones that got busted with like a jillion
All
pounds
the
of cocaine, right? And like that was
Correct.
and that was just for one of the containers. From what I understand, that shipment that was like part of the J.P. Morgan thing had like several containers, but there was just the authority to open that particular one.
And yesterday, the news came out that the CNN guy got fucking busted for child porn. A lot of these people, especially the lower level people, are about to get exposed because they're running through all the information. They know people want all this stuff out. Like we are literally like on the verge of like once all the arrests start happening, people are going to go, wait, what's happening? Why is everybody going to jail? Because eventually they're going to have to like get rid of all these people that are up top because they are sick and disgusting and have been doing all these crazy things, and there is nobody to take the reins. You're telling me that their children are going to be able to keep this shit secret? No, they're like, a lot of them don't even know what the fuck is going on most of the time. So there's no cabal left in society that is going to keep this shit up. So like all the celebrities right now are shitting bricks because every single one of them have ties to this crap. Like all of them, like they're all part of this garbage.
Carrie made a comment.
Me and Seven got to spend more time together, guys. Holy moly.
Carrie C made a comment on YouTube, and I want to address this because I agree. Pizzagate is a disgrace to pizza, 100%. Like, how can we rename the Pizzagate so that we can take back pizza in a positive light? I think that's important. That's something we need to discuss.
You got to call it pie. You got to start calling it pie.
Piegate? Or just pizza called pizza pie? Hey, give
call
me the
pizza pie. Call pizza pie. Give me a pie.
Pizza pie.
Yeah. A pizza.
Let's just fucking call it za. I'm calling it za.
Then give me some za. Give me a slice of the za.
I can mess with za. Yeah, because they definitely took pizza to like a whole nother level.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like that shit's crazy.
It's such like a happy place in my life. Like I don't like the negative connotation to that whatsoever. So,
dude, did y'all talk about the New York pizza stuff that's happening right now?
Oh, come on, that is such a joke. I love David Portnoy. He put out a video that was amazing on this thing.
I saw that. Yeah,
it's a joke, dude. Like he says, like all of the famous places in New York are cold fired. Like, give me a break. Like, there's so much other bullshit going on in New York City that literally coal-fired pizzas an insane discussion. These blue-haired fucking people.
I mean, it kind of leads into another topic, though, and I don't know if you guys wanted to go there, but I would chalk it up to conspiracy-esque type of vibes, and that's climate change. I believe the climate is changing, but I don't think humans are doing it.
My goodness.
You know what I mean?
How many ice ages? How many ice ages have there been over time? Like
so
exactly.
To be completely honest, guys, like completely honest, there's a scientist that literally did the whole thing study on what's going on, and we have literally changed the atmosphere on the globe 0.000, like something outrageously small in the fucking couple decades we've been industrialized. You know what I mean? We're not. You're telling me that we are somehow fucking up the climate? Like there's no way. There's too much room. There's too much square inches per human. There's too much going on. Like we don't produce enough. Even if we used to send nukes up into the sky and nobody said a word, and now all of a sudden you can't drive cars that pump out that black smoke, boys. There's no fucking way. No, that's garbage.
Whoa, Aunt Shirley.
I think it's so funny.
Was that Aunt Shirley?
The other thing, though, guys, right, is like I think a lot of the people that are talking about this stuff, right, and have these kind of just weird thoughts around that make no sense, right? Like, oh, let's shut down the pizzerias, but everyone's still washing and drying their clothes. Nobody's hang drying their shit for as much as you care about the environment or walking or riding a bike to work or something like that, right? A lot of those same things apply to like the anti-Bitcoin argument, right? The anti-crypto, anti-proof of work argument. So it's interesting, man. Do you guys know if there's a single shoreline that people can point to and say, this thing's moved up an inch or whatever, right? Is there a single fucking shoreline that people could point you to and say it?
I don't know, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
You know what this conversation makes me want to do though? It makes me want to go
go to Antarctica.
No. I want to go have do like a gotcha show where we go to like all of these people that are like pushing these agendas, right? And then say like, hey, we've got this this conference, this forum coming up, over here, we'd like to bring you in to come speak. Is it all right, if we fly in? And we trick them into like accepting a private jet flight, and then like we just meet them at the airport, like, haha, fucking got you hypocrite.
Hold on. Why don't we take it a step further to where we have a whole conference set up, and there's all these panelists that are completely opposite, and we let them go like in the middle, but they have to sit there and listen to all these other guys talk about it, and then they get up there and they're just like, shit.
I'm in.
That's almost like impractical jokers on crack.
Yeah, I mean, like, and we make the jokes and stuff, and that's all part of it. Like, who really knows what damage we're doing? Do I think that in certain parts of the country where we're just burning energy? Yeah, I'm sure that there's probably something bad there, but most of the country is like that's not how it goes. Like if you're seeing,
I think you're right about that for sure, Jay Chains. It's more nuanced than just saying like we're not doing any damage, for sure. I definitely, like, it's not hard to look at the ocean and see that there's a bunch of shit floating in it that we added to that. It wasn't, it didn't come out of the ocean. It's not hard to look at.
I mean, like, you got to think in places like New York City. Like, I lived in New York City. Like most of the buildings in New York City have like oil tanks in the basement, and that's like they burn that shit all fucking day long to like keep the energy of the building. So how's a pizza place destroying the economy, or the environment, but these oil burning buildings that just run all day and night.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Portnoy said, though, some blue-haired kid out of school or some shit with no experience. It's like, ooh, let me come up with some interesting way of how we can think we're saving something, but you're really not, right? That takes back to my comment, though, right? Like, if you truly cared, right? Like all these climate activists and like all the Gretas of the world, okay, some practical shit that you can do to really bring down carbon footprints. Start washing and hang drying, air drying your clothes. Start walking, riding a bike. There's a lot of sustainable things you can do. Quit throwing away a bunch of shit that you could reuse, right? And save over time. But nobody wants to talk about those things because nobody wants to give up convenience for the sake of making a positive impact. So for me, if the convenience is more important, then it's not that big of a deal, right? Then it's not that big of a deal to you, at least.
Well, okay, so there a comment, and I guess this does make sense. Like, as far as like polluting and having cars on the road, like think about LA, right? So Carrie was talking about like during COVID, you would see, people could actually see the Hollywood sign because the emissions was down. And yes, I mean that's what I'm saying is, and back to the comment was, in high concentrated places like California where you have more pollution and emissions from vehicles than you do, say, in like Birmingham, Alabama, where maybe the emissions are coming out of there might be from a paper mill or some kind of a tire plant or some I know that things are different on your basic locations, but I don't think that going after one small target and going back to the pizza thing, and that's maybe just what I'm pissed about, is that we're targeting pizza when we should be targeting other things. So, Carrie, you got to start it on the pizza, man. Thank you. So,
where did the first 40 minutes of this conversation go to? Because like we done missed like the whole workout. Like this is craziness. Like I was like, oh, it's like 10:15. We're check, see where we're at. Holy Toledo, bro. Yo, thank you all for being here. This is the Web3 Breakfast. This is Conspiracy Theory Week. Guys, we do this every Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. You guys, if you could, please reach down there, retweet out the space. Let's get some more people part of the conversation. And always remember that you can be a part of this conversation. All you have to do is just request the mic, and then you can come up and share your crazy thoughts as well. We warrant them. We won't think you're crazy. That's a promise. But I think it's probably, a good time to work out. Jay? Oh yeah, he's okay. I see him.
He was
Let's see
ready.
what we got. we keep our weights really close by. That way that when it's time to rock and roll, when it's time to go, there's not a lot of messing around. You're just ready to grab them weights and hit it, guys. So this is a great opportunity. Let's everybody go ahead and get up out your seats. Let's get ready to knock out this workout here. I see we got the dry koalas in the house, and so we're gonna give them a shout out today, man. Shout out to the dry koalas and what Jeb Deasy and them guys are over there doing. Dope project. Check them out. Pretty cool. Definitely do your own research. But this is Koala Shine by Dr. Bruce. Let's work out. Nope. That's the wrong song. Dang it. Wrong one. Wrong one. Hang on.
That's a little birthday jamaroni.
A little birthday jam. Yeah, you know what it was? I had tried to mix some of his songs. Here we go. Let's go, dry koalas in the building, guys. Let's get up, get your seat. Let's work out. Get your dumbbells. Let's go.
This is where we be when we vibing. Out here with the team and we riding. Now a little rain on your sunshine. High up in the trees where we stay dry. We went from body to heat. And now we running with the breeze. Now a little rain on your sunshine. High up in the trees where we stay dry. We went from body to heat. And now we running with the breeze. I can wall in the bed. We got nothing to fear. Don't crushing jars, we clogged in like steel. I'm high up in the treetops where we rock the real. We drop into the A-chain, get ready, beware. We lived right through the rainy days, never cloud up the sky. And I still stay dry, I must remain fly. No wings on my body, but I still climb.
Let's go. Come on. It's your time. Let's rep them out. One more.
Make sure you use them.
Come on.
We all in the treehouse getting loose for the night. The rappers the
We got about 50 seconds, guys. Come on.
Liddy ignite. My L's is rolled up and getting ready for flight. Let's go. Now a little rain on your sunshine. High up in the trees where we stay dry. We went from body to heat. And now we running with breeze. Now a little rain on your sunshine. High up in the trees where we stay dry.
All right, we're down to the last 20 seconds. Last reps in right now. There's your chance. Either you making changes or you making excuses. Come on.
I am the truth. I'm in the booth. I'm letting loose. So go
10.
Go mad, no flex.
Last
go
one.
Facts. The rest is collab. The best.
5,
I blow past my
4,
blow that. I
3, and welcome back. Whew. Great job, guys. Yeah, you guys did a fantastic job. That's what we do here. Healthy minds, healthy bodies, healthy portfolios. Thank you all for tuning in to the Conspiracy Week. That was my interpretation.
You needed that music
of the X-Files song there.
That music was perfect when you played that.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you. I just made it up on the spot. So definitely.
Good. All right, let's get back into it. Who's got a juicy conspiracy, or do we got anything that we need to carry on from before the break? What do we got? Where are we at? JFK assassination. Should we move on to that? We done with the moon landing?
Ancient trees.
Well, I mean,
ancient trees. You guys
birds
talk about
aren't
that?
real.
You guys heard of that one?
Ancient trees. Let's hear it. I haven't heard ancient trees.
All right. So you ever see those mountains that look like they're a big ass tree, but they tell you it doesn't? Devil's Tower. Look it up. One of them. So this kind of goes back to what I talked about yesterday, right? In the book of Enoch, there's also, I think it's in that one. There's some scripture in there talking about that the trees back then, you used to be able to see them from one side of the earth to the other. Just massive trees. But at some point they were cut down. They cut down the giants or the watchers. Someone cut these giant ass trees down. So I don't know. There's a whole bunch of mountains that they try and tell us are plateaus or something. They look like a damn tree.
there's another one that coincides with this. And it's when the flood happened. It actually came from inside of from up out of the earth as well. It was coming down and up. And if you look around where all the quote unquote craters from where all the asteroids hit the earth, if you look at them side by side with geysers that are here today, they literally look like giant geysers. They're not asteroids.
And that also ties in with the whole mud flood theory, right? Which is that part of this flood was there was a lot of sediment, and there's entire, like, that's why they keep finding old civilization that's buried, right? And you got to dig for it, and it's like not just slightly under the surface; it's deep under the surface, right?
Yeah, if you go, apparently, if you go deep underneath, like New York and the subway and stuff, like it keeps going and keeps going, and like there's sublevel on sublevel on sublevel, and like there's some guys apparently that like went like 5 levels deep, and they said once you get down, you start seeing tickets that are printing weird ass years and stuff that don't make any sense than that what we've been told, and like back in, I think it's like it's supposed to say 1800 on the ticket. It's not 1800. It's like I 800 and something. Instead of a 1, it's an I, and it's like crazy as crap to watch.
Dude, a lot of this I think ties also to the whole, like, the fires that happened in the, what was it, the mid to late 1800s, or was it early 1800s, where we had all these fires where all of the old buildings and structures and libraries and all history was, you could kind of say, erased for a period there. And then I don't know, man, like stuff like that makes me wonder, you know why? Because there's too many damn movies and shows that talk about our history being different than what we know, being erased. And then we all know how it works, right? Like whoever controls the narrative controls the history, right? How hard is it really to change history? We're kind of seeing them try and change some of it today. So I don't know. There's a whole theory though that like at some point, and man, good thing you guys changed it to a week, but we probably should plan some of this shit out, to be honest. So Tartaria, that's a whole nother thing we can go on, man. Supposedly there was an empire of people, a whole civilization that's been wiped out from human history. It was a Tartarians advanced civilization, not in like mechanical force like we are today, because you got to think about that. We say we're the most advanced humans have ever been. Maybe in mechanical force, maybe in that version of engineering. But I think we're very low level in terms of our understanding of frequency, energy, vibration, some of the natural forces that might be at play, right? What if other civilizations were more advanced than us in those things, right? I mean,
it's funny to think, just really quick, like looking at this Devil's Tower thing, to think like if trees were as tall that you could see from one side of the, whatever, from the other, like we are just in like a little war-torn marble now, right? Like, so this thing was a totally different structure. It has been just blasted up, and now we've got this run. I mean, if you look at like how this Little Devil's Tower trail look, I'm looking at like a pictures that you had, it said to look up Little Devil's Tower. It's just really interesting how you could then imagine like these structures all over the earth that just got obliterated by whether asteroids, alien fights, right? If you're an alien guy, I don't know who's the alien guys here.
Dude, it says they were cut down, man. It says they were cut down, that all the trees were cut down. If we still see trees today, then it's not talking about trees.
What are you Googling? I want to look it up. What is it?
Little Devil's Tower.
Little Devil. Okay. I'll catch up.
Is it in Arizona, I think, or where's the Devil's Tower at?
Wyoming?
Oh, maybe it's a different one then. Try just so Devil's Tower. Try Devil's Tower without the little.
Just look up ancient trees, like, and it'll come up. Like,
yeah, Seven knows what's up. Me and Seven are gonna connect after this.
If you look at ancient trees, and plus the Tartarian thing, I looked up Tartaria and like really deep dived into Tartaria. If you look at the Great Wall of China, it's actually really interesting that if you were like doing like massive fucking raids on a country, you would build the wall in a certain way, and the way that it's built on the Chinese side is where all the stairs are not, and the side of where opposing China is where you have more access to get up on top of the wall. So really it's the Great Wall of Tartaria, and it was built completely around Tartaria. They just demolished so much of it, and before they could get done demolishing it,
that like everybody started noticing, oh, there's a huge wall here, guys. Like there's it's all documented too, which is really crazy on how they built it, because we got taught that the Chinese built it and they were building people into the walls. The reason why you'll find Chinese soldiers in the walls is because Tartarians would go and capture them and use it as a torture mechanism to make sure that nobody would cross over the wall. Like pretty much, so the guys out there were waiting to kind of ambush them. They would hear the screams of their other warriors like getting fucking mounded into the walls of Tartaria. That's why it's all just masked big time. It's so crazy.
Dude, that sounds exactly like that anime Attack on Titan. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that.
Oh yeah, they're trying so hard to push that. Like, I mean, all of the truth is going to come out. You can only lie for so long. You can only keep alive for so long.
This is totally new to me. I never knew about this Tartarian thing.
Oh, dude,
like,
you got to look up Tartaria, which ties in with the mud flood, right? Because that's how they were kind of wiped out at some point. And it also ties in with I think it's got a lot of overlap with the whole Giants.
From what I understand, they didn't get wiped out necessarily, because they actually owned they are the ones that figured out that there was tunnels so far deep into the inner earth, quote unquote. Like, this is Tartarian lore and stuff. So they literally used the giant holes, because giants dug the holes to the bottom, to the inner earth, and they created like some crazy city, or so they call it something. I can't remember what the name of the city is, but it's humongous. It's like the size. It's practically the size of Earth. So if you put Earth like on top of itself, it's practically another one underneath it. And they just kind of escaped down there and have been living peacefully, quote unquote. And I'm gonna sound insane as hell here in a second. So Operation Desert Storm, there's a lot of accounts of them trying to go to this certain spot and closing up a humongous like hole, and a lot of giants were climbing out of it because they were actually trying to come back up and resurrect the old way or whatever, and that's why that whole situation happened. And there are like 4 or 5 videos of them like taking a chopper and like picking up something, and it literally looks like a big ass human, and the helicopter is a double-bladed helicopter, and it's having trouble picking this thing up. That's how big it is. And that's like that right there, like solidly told me that Tartaria is huge. And then all of a sudden, Putin starts talking about Tartaria on camera and stuff, which was really funny. And I think it happened last year. But it all like all of this stuff is getting so suppressed, and it's the more they suppress it, the more it's going to be uncovered, because people just like to dig.
It's just like the Giants thing, dude. It's like if you ever go down that rabbit hole of, were giants real? Have we ever found any evidence of them? You start to find that just about every newspaper in the United States used to constantly publish, and this is public record, guys, used to publish that they would find 8, 9, 10, 12, 15-foot long skeletons. Our president, was it Abraham Lincoln that I think wrote about it in his journal, or Washington, one of these guys, where they said, as I stand here on Niagara Falls, like looking over the mounds of the giants or something like that our ancestors built, or some shit like dude, it's not, they don't want you to know about this, but it's there. There's so much evidence. And here's the funny thing, right? We're in Web3. We're in crypto. We understand that centralization is bad, because when you're centralized, you control everything, right? You're centralized, you control the future of whatever the hell you're holding. You control the story, you control everything. Well, all of this shit, right? Like, if you look at all of the conspiracies, they all lead back to distrust of centralization, of single organizations, right? And even this whole giant thing, the Smithsonian was the one who would come and pick all this shit up. Now, where do they put all this stuff? If they used to box it up in crates and go put it somewhere, where the hell is it? Why is it being hidden? Why is it that you can go and look up right now that in like Peru in the last few years, they found these massive skulls that don't fit the narrative of evolution and of a bunch of shit, right? Like, and they're not alien, they're clearly human-esque type stuff, right? So I don't know, man. Like I said, I'm an anti-establishment guy. I also have very little trust that the big organizations of the world have my interest in mind and that they're telling me the truth.
I want to read. I want to read really quick what you were talking about with Lincoln. I think that I found this correct, where he says he's talking about just something with kind of Moses, Israel, the Red Sea, and all that, and he goes talking about Niagara. The eyes of the species of extinct giants whose bones fill the mountains of America have glazed upon Niagara as ours do now.
That's the one. Yeah. That's the one, man. And even the Indians. I live in New Mexico, so we're like around all the tribal areas here. It's common belief, man, that the Indians, the Native Americans here in America, were constantly at war with a race of giant red-headed giants that wanted to kill them and eat them.
Oh shit! This all makes
sense. And they
were
constantly at war with them.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Though? Honey, I Shrunk the Kids is just a dramatized real life encounter. Somehow the aliens hit the giants with the shrink button, and that's who we are now. Damn it!
Actually,
we're just midgets. We're all. I shouldn't have said that.
We could have been giants.
That's the thing I was going to touch on.
They gave us that in a movie too.
There's been plenty of archaeological findings with regards to the air content and the way our Earth actually was in the past, right? And so when you look at dinosaurs and you look at the way the size of them and the lizards of today, it was actually conducive to that environment, right? So
dinosaurs don't exist.
Okay, I'm just saying.
Did you say dinosaurs don't exist?
Dragons.
Yeah, dinosaurs are a creative term. That's a whole conspiracy theory too, boys.
Okay,
I don't believe that. That's ridiculous.
So, but those were obviously the dinosaurs were obviously the dogs, like the pets of the giant people, clearly, and they got out of control and they ate the giants and the trees cut down, and that's how it all happened.
If the dinosaurs were able to grow that size, okay, and we have bones, and let's assume for a second, Seven, that they did exist. Right? Assume with that assumption, we have bones, we have these things that show that creatures of that size were around. Now, it wasn't just one type of species; it was like a whole ton of them. So the content of which the way their cells interacted with the actual oxygen levels and all that kind of stuff. The reality is they can show that creatures logically could be bigger in a certain environment, and so I don't see it being too odd that humanoids would actually have the same issue as well, right? But the real question mark is why would there be? What's the big deal, right? Like why? Let's say they came out in public and it was like all the Smithsonian says, "Oh yeah, we had these bones the whole time." Like, are people gonna are they afraid that people are gonna freak out? Like, oh my God, there were giants before. What does that mean?
No. I'll tell you why, Zima. Zima. Here's my perspective on why a lot of these conspiracies, if they ever did come out to be true, why they're trying to hide them. And this is just my opinion.
I'm talking about the giants specifically.
Well, because they think they need to protect us. That's why. At the end
no. Hold on. Yeah, yes, it's all tied though, but it's more than that. I think it's more than that. So think about this. If we're spinning on a rock in the middle of space, this vast thing, right? Just craziness, just infinite, right? We're on this rock. We are, we just came from monkeys. We evolved from monkeys. There were no giants. There wasn't any of this scriptural stuff that we believe. Well, then what it does is it minimizes, right? It tries to discredit that there is a creator and that there's a creation story and that there's all this history that we don't know. So it's more like an anti-creator, anti-creation.
It's an attack on religion. Yeah.
It's an attack on religion. And the other thing that I was talking to Sky, who's down in the audience, right? We're talking about, well, why would they though? Like, what are all the things what are the reasoning behind it? The other thing that I think is it makes us feel less significant than we are, that we humans are significant, right? Because if you're just this little ant on this tiny thing that has no real purpose, it's going to live forever, that was just pure coincidence, all that, then we're not significant, right? So it's an anti-creator and we are made in the image of God type of movement, right? That we have the ability to construct our reality and do all these things.
That's a very interesting point. You know what's really fascinating is that when you look at space itself is majority, a type of dark matter, right? Like 80% of it, like, that we've observed. Now, when you talk about those kind of areas, there are the space between an atom and the next atom is like a football field. Meanwhile, a drop of our blood has like millions of them. So the reality is, like the very nature of life on Earth itself is not like one of like what dots in the vastness of space. It is like literally an aggregation of like the most of, right? That we actually have like super abundance in this one little dot here, because and the rest of the space is actually like just emptiness. In terms of those areas that I was talking about. So could you imagine that? Like literally, there's just like just most of black space is like it's so sparse that atoms are like that far apart from each other, and yet we have like more than a universe in like in our blood. So it's crazy.
Yeah, one of the things that I recommend for anyone who's even slightly interested in understanding where some of this conspiracy theory comes from and how it all ties in, like the whole, like the flat earth, the giants, the mud flood, all of this stuff, how it's all tied in. There's a guy that I think everyone should look up. It's Rob Skiba, and you can find his YouTube at ROBSKIBA. Skiba.
You read my book. No, I'm kidding.
But anyway, he's got some videos about 2 years old. Rob, unfortunately, he passed away. He's no longer alive, but he was also a big proponent of crypto. But he's got some videos about 2 years old called The Genesis Revelation. He did a whole series on it, right? And it's dissecting the book of Genesis and all of that and understanding what I basically said, right? Why that story does not align with what we're taught in school in science, right? I would go back, guys, and these are hour-long videos, but you want to look for that one. It's about an hour. It's talks about the firmament. It talks about biblical cosmology. It talks about the Nephilims. It talks about aliens, all this stuff and how it's all tied. And it's interesting. I'm not saying it's fact. I just consider myself that I'm a guy that's more interested in seeking the truth than I am in being right.
Look. So for me, when you talk about the giants and stuff, it's quite simple. People have found stuff. Somebody saw it. Somebody talked about it. Somebody wants it kept secret, and so they shut them up. But obviously, these things came because there was actual people that saw things like that, and that's the thing, right? So, we have we lived in a time when the news told us what was fact, right? We have scholars before that actually studied these things on our behalf so that they can reveal it to us, right?
Centralization, 100%.
Yeah, so and there was no real need, and decentralization was with the scholars because that was everybody agreeing and looking into things, right? But the reality is, people saw things like they actually saw freaking. Here's some bones. Okay, here's this and that. Like the people actually witnessed things, documented it. I mean, and the other argument to be made is when you look at people that were, you can say, ancient civilizations writing in cuneiform, taking little marks with stone and freaking and literally like banging rocks just to write down messages and information. Majority of those early ones, which has these stories, do you literally think they would like work that hard just to like document, just to document a fable? I mean,
100%, 100%.
That's what's hard.
Say that shit again. Say that shit again because I said it yesterday. That most of the stuff that we recorded, it's people were recording observations, man.
Yeah.
And then let's get to Badger's hand. Can't do the shoulder injury thing, but repeat it real quick, and then let's get to Badger.
Repeat it real quick. Yeah, no, it's very simple. The very act of inscribing. Like if you look at cuneiform has a triangular shape because it's literally a chisel and a hammer. Click, 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 click. And so you didn't have very convenient writing forms in that stage. And literally, if humans were going to go and document anything, it would be something significant, important, and not necessarily a fable just for story books and imaginations. It's like they're trying to document something, trying to communicate something important because the act of writing and documenting alone was difficult.
Really quick, I want to make sure that we do go down and why was I saying this shit? I had something else planned for why I was gonna go and have you guys retweet the space. Oh yeah,
You said Badger.
yeah, we'll just go down and retweet the space so we get more people in here. But I wanted to actually, Zima, I was going to tell you if you guys go up into the nest and you scroll all the way over, I don't know if you saw this, but Carrie, his Zima is complete. So that's
Oh,
Whoa,
yeah,
Barry, my man.
yeah. So
Hey,
that's posted up there. That thing's dope.
Caesar, you were so. What's that? Caesar was actually one of my very first fans. So you know.
I love that. Badger, Badger, go ahead.
Good morning, Web3 Breakfast Club and team.
GM.
Excuse me. Shout out to everyone. Happy Taco Tuesday. Tacos. Reminding of your favorite food. Besides pizza, that's on Friday. This is fascinating. I love that you did a second day. Maybe you do a third day. I can talk about conspiracies all day, every day, and which is why I'm speaking from my personal account as opposed to ACA. Not to confuse any opinions. It's whatever. But so I had a couple of thoughts. I thought I'm gonna go. Yes, it's Ivan. What up, Zima?
How's your shoulder, Ivan?
Oh my God, it's been hurting for weeks. You know,
Dude, that's why I don't raise
getting
my
better.
hand.
It's getting better.
I've got a pre-existing shoulder injury, so I can't raise it.
That's smart. That's smart, Caesar.
But hey, Scissor, to your comment, Desert Storm, I thought one of the theories was, and which is also what I believe, because I believe those exist, is that they were trying to capture one of the stargates that exists. As there are a bunch, I forget how many, and so I thought, yes, I do believe giants were around and still maybe somewhere and are maybe living hidden, maybe beneath the earth. But going back to also aliens, okay, I'll have to prerequisite this with the following statement. I truly believe to my core that we're spiritual beings having a human experience. Having said that, because of that, I also believe there's literally hundreds, if not thousands, of species out there, and a lot of them are well familiar with humans and the human experience, and a lot of them live in different dimensions. So that does cross a little bit of the conversation yesterday where are we talking ghosts? Are we talking aliens? Are they related? I think it's all energies presented and manifested in different ways. And all of us as human beings have the abilities to tune into that and to see or acknowledge or recognize it in many different ways. But it starts with what we believe, just like we believe the sky is blue and the grass is green, but is it really? That's just what we were thought to believe. And with that, there's, the sky's the limit. And going back to giants living underground, there's also, like, I've read a guy, but an author there, he's called a spiritual teacher or whatnot, you can call him whatever. His name is Drunvalo Melchizedek. I'm not sure how it may be pronounced a few different ways, but he's got an interesting story, and he has done a very, very deep dive into the flower of life and geometry that surrounds life and how it makes life. Basically, Matt makes up what we exist and what we see and witness, and through that, he talks a lot about energies and being able to travel between the different dimensions, again going back to each individual's abilities and willingness to do so. And so he also introduces another species that lives underground, and they're energy beings that he has, as he writes, communicated with and travel with them below Earth, where they live below the lava or within lava, but they're just energies. And he describes this very well as a person, a firsthand experience. So I wanted to throw that into the mix. And then curious, Cesar, what do you think about Stargates and Desert Storm being involved with that, maybe in addition to giants as well?
I just looked this guy up. This guy is pretty interesting. He's got his whole, all these patterns going on in his Look here.
Really quick.
But I want to comment on that, though. But Caesar, go ahead.
Before Caesar goes,
Nah, go ahead, Jay.
Is there anybody that's invented a goggle or some kind of device that helps you see in some of these different wavelengths?
Yes.
There's glass you can't have.
J chains, yes, there is.
So these are the types of things that I need because then I can quantify. Listen, I see that thing over there. That's real shit.
There actually is.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, when I say there is, it was actually I forgot the chemical name, but that chemical name was actually utilized. Was that? I actually just ordered one, by the way. So there's a.
All right, I'm coming to visit you.
This particular chemical, I'll tell you what. This particular chemical itself is actually was used for night vision. Yeah, to enhance night vision. And so, Tevin, you must know about this one, right?
Is it called LSD?
No.
DMT maybe? DMT?
DMT.
Hey,
DMT does help you see.
It's a coated paint that you put so you can actually enhance light for night vision. They used it in World War II, I believe, right? And then literally the reports were that pilots started seeing like crazy ass like demons and shit in the freaking sky during the war. They took it offline, and as of right now they made it like illegal like for the chemical. I'll find the chemical. And so recently they've had manufacturers like outside the U.S. like start like manufacturing it, and people will have been ordering this shit. But it's kind of curious though that there's a lot of reports of people of what they see. So I want to see myself if it actually works. So, but there is an actual goggle, J Chains. So maybe you do need one. Maybe it might freak you out though. It might. I mean, who knows?
I can handle it. See, that's the thing.
You think so, right?
No, I know so. Like, well, I don't like blood and guts, but like I could. It would just allow me to understand some more things. Like, I want a government clearance so I could know things, not so that I could freak out or overreact because that's not me. I just want to know some things so that I could just know some things, right? Like. I just want to know, like, okay, that there's a ghost in the house, or that there is this alien guy just walking down the street, just happens to be on a different frequency or wavelengths, but I can see him. So, like, now I like that shit's true.
Yeah, but you got to remember one important thing. When you start seeking those things out, and there's different kinds of those things. When you start looking at them, they start looking at you. All right, and so you may think that it's a cool thing that like, oh yeah, I can see that and all this kind of stuff, but the reality is. Part of us get along with our day because we avoid
don't
that
see dead people.
You don't have to scare me, Zima. Jesus.
I was gonna say Jay probably got goosebumps when you said that.
I will definitely say, and I see Seven has his hand up, but I just want to make this comment real quick because it goes with this. That I'm a part of some fraternal organizations where we're part of some information and stuff. When my mentor, when he took me through like the process or whatever, the one thing he told me is that if you go too far down this rabbit hole, you will find yourself in a place where you are alone because you will see and understand things that just people around you just will not.
For sure, this is true.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And so that's why there are conspiracies, because most people can't handle the real shit. They can't handle the true shit, the giants. Because people, they freak out. What would you do if you found out that there was like 100-foot tall people? Like you'd shit in your pants and cry. Most people would.
Dude, that Rob Skiba stuff. If you guys go watch that Genesis Revelation.
I want to talk about the whole desert storm thing.
Hold on, because this ties into that, Zima, too, right? So, if you go off of scripture and biblical stuff, right, and if you really take the time to dissect it, and then look at what other civilizations used to say as well, he makes an argument that there were two types of pre-flood giants and one type of post-flood giants. He says the first kind was like the shit out of those like Greek mythology movies where it's like the Kraken, where it's just this massive thing that's taller than mountains and it's just wrecking havoc everywhere, right? And he says that those were killed. Now, where else do we hear similar speak of that? Well, Greek mythology, Roman mythology, right, where it was these titans, right? They were the huge titans. The titans then had kids, which were then the gods, right, in Greek mythology, right? The Zeuses, all these guys, right? Well, and the Bible was the same shit. There were these giants, these Nephilim giants, huge ones. And then they kept breeding with regular humans, and at some point there were smaller giants, which were still huge by any measure. You know, they were still 15, 20 footers or whatever. But those are the ones that the president wrote about when he said that the ancient breed of giants, like those are the ones that they find the bones of today, 10, the 12, 15, 20 footers. Those are the ones that were documented in newspapers all over America and all over the world. So it's interesting when you look at that. Now, Zima, let me bring it back to
Desert Storm.
Yeah, to what you were saying, though. So I think that it's all tied in, dude. Like all this is related. It's all the same thing, right?
So Seven mentioned Thoth, right? And the Emerald Tablets. So that's an interesting topic as well because it relates. So it circles back. So do you guys? So in that they mentioned the halls of Nementi. You guys know about that? The halls of Nementi. So if you, who watched the movie 300, the second one, right? If you watch the movie, the second movie 300, the woman who was the general, whatever, she took what's his name again? Whatever, the guy, the tall one.
Xerxes.
Xerxes. He took Xerxes, who was in man form, to this place where there was a ritual and there was this water, this cave, right? And literally, he goes out of the water into this whole entire thing, becomes this giant-looking god thing, and it was a transformation of God. Now, that is actually a direct reference to the Hall of Memento. Now, the Hall of Memento in itself is a very interesting concept because it correlates with it's a number of religions. Like in Christianity, there's actually a connection to when Jesus was taken away into the desert for 30 days and 40 days and 40 nights, whatever it was, that he literally, it was a visit there. And it was during that visit. And so what is the Hall of Memento? The Hall of Memento is actually a gateway. And this is where Thoth, the Emerald Tablets came from, where he had entered and he discovered, I'm not even going to say the names, they're pretty dark, but that's where the nine sit, right? So this is the legend of where the angels that were cast down are actually trapped, but also giants. It's kind of like a jail, or something like that, right? Seven, do you have a comment on this one? Because I think you may know what's one, right?
I know all of it. I'm just waiting. I'm gonna circle back and talk about
the
last.
So I was just thinking the Desert Storm is kind of strange because that would be the area, right, of where it is, So it's because Iraq, Babylon, that whole area is like very, very ancient. I mean,
yeah, it's under the Euphrates River, right? Is where they were cast. I think it's under the Euphrates River, is what it says.
Oh, that story too. Oh shoot! And did you hear about the screaming that they heard?
Nah, that was fake. I know that one was fake.
That's weird.
That
right?
one was debunked. But yeah, someone hearing some screaming under like a crack or something. But that is interesting to bring that up though, Zima. Which is like if you're gonna go down this rabbit hole of like biblical mythology, I guess is what you can call it. I don't know what the right word is for it, right? But I had never been this interested in religion in my life until I started to realize that maybe there was some shit about our past that was being hidden and that some of the truth laid in that scripture and stuff. And I was like,
I will tell you right now, the religion in itself, for me, got even more interesting when quantum mechanics became more like when we started diving into it. Like literally, I learned so much stuff when I was part of the first beta when IBM allowed for devs to actually access the quantum online to learn how to program on it. And when you look at when you dive into those concepts and you understand enough about the history of religion, Solomonic magic, and actually how they all tie together, a lot of it actually became very obvious. Like literally, a lot of the these, I don't know, that's the whole topic in itself, but a lot of it became very obvious because they pretty much are just understanding first the basis of quantum mechanics and then understanding how they manipulate it, and it's all based on like targeting frequencies and how, and by the way, the mind in itself is in fact a radio station. You can tune it, you can channel it, right? And so how do you channel it? You channel it through images. I said it yesterday, when you look at an image, you're transmitting that image. And the very concept of focus. In fact, there's this whole thing about how this generation's focus is diminishing all the time. And it's horrible because the powers that were discovered in in meditation. I mean, in the Asian front. I mean, it's so well understood how important it is. Was that in order to actually, you can maneuver in many ways, see things, intuit different things, and it's all about focus and concentration. And we're losing that thing today. And I feel like that's part of what they want. They want us less and less and less becoming, more introspective and more, more powerful as humans.
Oh, had my mic muted. Yeah, no, man, without a doubt. All right, let's get a couple hands. I don't know between Seven or Badger who was first. Seven, go ahead, then Badger, then
Seven.
Sheesh.
You can go, Badger. Go ahead. Mine's gonna be long-winded.
Let's get into it.
Right on.
Okay. Go ahead.
I was just gonna comment. I was gonna comment on what Caesar said about the interbreeding. So like this whole interracial breeding, it's nothing new. It's been happening forever, as we know. And so that big deal now that it's interracial on this planet and this plane with this races that we had. It's happened all throughout history with different races. And that's how we've gotten what we've gotten. That's why we have some people that have certain traits, almost like NFTs and digital assets versus not. And with that,
so nerdy.
People
outside of
people are the original
breeding.
NFT.
Yes, we're.
Oh my God.
OpenSea has a shirt that I got at NFT NYC last year that says non-fungible, and like you just walk around saying it's non-fungible. Yeah, we're the original non-fungibles. Anyway, not to diverse, but so there's a lot of alien breeding that's been going on, knowingly or unknowingly, voluntarily for testing purposes or not. You involve different races. There's a lot of races that live among us, and some of them are mixed from recent history and from long history, going back to pre-Egyptian times or during Egyptian times or whenever, a lot of who was it? Was it Zima, you making the point that they stored pictures because they were just recording observations, and tons of observations there in hieroglyphics, even before that into the caves where cavemen drew on the wall and presented some of those, and lots of evidence there. But anyway, not to diverse, lots of breeding going on, and shoot, I forgot what else I was going to say, so I'm going to pass it. But I did invite Jahan because I thought we were talking, speaking of Desert Storm, as we know, he's got some history. I'd love to hear what he's got to say about Desert Storm and his perception of conspiracies there. And I also wanted to take it back, Caesar, to the comment of we never touched on Stargates versus Giants at Desert Storm.
Oh, and really quick, I know that, you had said you were really excited that we did a follow-up episode on this today. It is, if you guys look at the title, it is Conspiracy Theory Week. We have dedicated the entire rest of this week to talking nothing but conspiracy theories because this is fun. It's really enlightening for me because I don't know half the shit you guys are talking about. And so it's really cool.
Dude, I wish I could watch you like go down some of these rabbit holes.
Yeah, he's gonna be a cave man.
Lose your mind, dude.
Yeah.
No.
Absolutely.
He's gonna have parts in his wall by next year.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think I probably share the opinion of most people where, like, I know the, the fundamental ones, like, the ones that I brought up, like, the assassinations, the moon, the easy ones like this. Like, you guys are getting into some fucking in-depth shit that, like, I've never heard of half of these things, and like this tree of life or these massive trees and people. Like, man, this is some fascinating stuff. Like, I'm definitely intrigued.
Did you guys do reptilians yet? Like the reptilian race thing? Did you guys touch that yet? I don't know.
Not yet.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, because the trees.
That's probably like Thursday. Thursday we'll get into the reptiles.
Yeah.
Bro, that tree thing really has me like my mind blown though, because like
Dude,
they definitely have like growth rings on top of them and stuff too. Like it's not just like it's not like, oh yeah, like it's just a mountain that our eyes and because our brains will play tricks on us to make us see things that aren't necessarily there, and I can't think of what that actual term is called. But no, man, like there's growth rings and shit on top of it, and they're like cut like perfectly flat. Like
Perfectly
golly.
flat, dude. And I've heard that on some of these, if you go to Google Maps or one of the maps that you can do from satellite, that there's people who started to find what looked like would have been like the fallen branches that are just petrified, and they look like a mountain range or they look like something, but you zoom out enough and you're like, damn, that has like a branch and like leaf formation and stuff like that. So I don't know. All I know is I'm in New Mexico and I lived in Arizona for a little while, and there's a thing called the Petrified National Forest or something like that. But anyways, it's literally trees and like all kinds of carbon organisms that have been petrified instead of broken down, right? And so petrification is a real thing. I'm not up to speed on like what are the conditions that need to be present for petrification, but I do know that it's a real thing, and you can petrify wood. Wood can turn into rock. It absolutely can. It is an undeniable fact.
Yeah.
So,
do you want to know how that happens, by the way? Hi, what the hell did I just get into?
GM Jahan, how are you, man?
Wow. Okay.
Oh my God.
I came in thinking it was one angle, and came into reptilian breeding. But I just want to say hi. I'll dive in a second. I know that Seven here had his hand up before I even got in, so I don't want to like usurp the spot here. But hello, I'll comment here in a moment.
No, GM, man. You know, you're good to go. Seven he said he's got a long-winded point, so he's hanging on until we shift gears.
All right. Well, back to reptile sex. All right. You guys were talking about like a desert.
Tell us about your weekend.
Yeah, my weekend was fantastic. As a matter of fact, I'm in Twitter jail, by the way.
Everybody, this is a weird thing. I think they're literally I'm seeing, we got 4 or 5 people in the Web3 Breakfast DM chat group that are in a 3-day suspension, a holding thing, and they don't even tweet that often. They've been saying, I'm seeing like Chris D, one of the homies, same thing. I think it's probably it's a Twitter thing.
Algo change. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Initially, I thought it was just my sportification. I've been a little bit more vocal since I've become my true self.
But you know what's really funny though about the whole like Twitter jail thing. Real quick, I'm sorry to cut you off there, John. But like we started the conspiracy week, and all like even into last week, we're like, oh, we're gonna be canceled, and we're still up, and all of our homies are being
I know, right? That's funny. Well, good on you guys. So what did you want to know about? How many do you have in here? So for those that don't know, I'm Jahan. You can find me. I'm fully doxxed. I run the American Crypto Academy. I founded Stars and Funds. My first life, believe it or not, I'm a former U.S. intelligence officer. So that was over 15 years ago. So I can tell you that now. But there you have it. So I might be able to give you a little bit of perspective.
Were they hunting giants in Desert Storm? Tell us the truth.
I did not see one cable on that.
I see. So your clearance wasn't high enough. I understand.
I guess if there's a clearance above my zone, I did. I had top secret clearance, and I actually had above that. There are things above that. And here's my thing, which is maybe validates some of what you're thinking, and also gives you a fresh perspective into like maybe actually how things are done. The government is its own universe. When I mean that, like it really is. It is its own world. And the federal government bureaucracy is so effing huge. Like other places don't even know other places exist, not because they're trying to keep it secret. They're that far away. There's no like phone book, right? There really isn't. So generally, like conspiracies emerge in 2 ways. One, because we're idiots and things fall through the cracks. Or 2, because we're idiots, maybe 1 or 2 people can get away with like hiding things, right? But like I'm telling you, the experience that you receive at your local registry of motor vehicles was very similar to the service I received to like my cover support people, which is like you'd think I'd be a bit more critical when I'm out in the field and things are happening, and I'm like, hey, this is getting fucked up. Can you? Oh wait, you're putting me on hold? Are you fucking serious? Right, exactly.
Jeez. You're talking about when they radio in like a an air bomb.
No, that's a military operation. I'm just talking the administrative pain of working undercover. It is awful. It is so stupid, and they think it's stupid. They don't even know how to fix it. Sometimes you just fix it yourself.
I don't understand what you're saying, bro. Are you talking about when you're undercover?
I'm just talking about the service.
You've got like a customer service line that you got to call in. They're like, yeah, we'll get you in a few. We got we're gonna work on a triage system here, so we'll get you in a few minutes.
Yeah, like look, the whole like the government itself. But I'll give the ICU as an example, right? Because I know it. And a lot of what I'm going to tell you here is all open source. I'm not telling you anything secret. Just giving you perspective on it. It's so massive. It's so fucking massive. It's all like bureaucracy, reports passing back and forth, and like. It's a nightmare. It's a fucking like if you saw under the hood,
what you think is like some like high-powered engine is a fucking lawnmower. Like actually 5 lawnmowers.
Yo, I've been saying this to everybody that when you look under the hood, it's a bunch of idiots.
Right. I'm not kidding you. And like this is actually one of our greatest successes, is utilizing the emergence of the TV era to make people think we could do some crazy shit.
Yep.
It's all vaporware, huh?
Not all vaporware, but I'm just saying, like, it's part of the war. Hello? If you're going against your adversary, perception is everything.
But keep in mind the factions inside the government alone. I mean, the president at the time had to literally threaten Area 51 to open its doors to the president, right? I mean, there's literally, you know, independent groups that actually can, you know.
Yeah, but you know, here's the other thing. I'm also very like a big time stickler about source validation. I did do this professionally. So a lot of what you see, don't forget, is one group citing another group, who's citing the third group, who's citing the second group, who's citing the first group. You run into this circular train. I'm not saying there are not nuggets of truth in there, but you got to dig deep, right? You got to really kind of dig deep. And most of the shit is just really, I can read through some of the acronyms a little bit. And I'll tell you right now, I know nothing about like alien shit. Okay. Nothing. The one thing I know about that area from people that went there is that's obviously where we test new shit. And that's all I know.
Fair enough.
That's all I know. No, but then again, like, look, I just told you that was big. The first thing bro. Yeah, you can get away with stuff. You can get away with stuff. I mean, you get away with stuff, have a whole agency not know. You know, I'm just saying. So, like, yeah, a lot of it gets lost in there. We've created this bureaucratic monstrosity. Think of it like if a Walmart covered the entirety of the earth, and you had to go find like something in one aisle.
Yeah. Actually, this also suggests that it is not your government that necessarily is the one that's doing all the hiding, etc. The government's literally just is part of something else, you know.
Yeah, it's just a mechanism for other things. Like, dude, like.
Absolutely.
There is my favorite thing is when they're like, you don't think governments are going to like conspire to ban crypto? Look, if the governments of the world got together and agreed to ban crypto, that'd be the very first time the governments of the world ever got together and agreed on anything.
No, that's actually right. That's actually right. That is fucking right.
So don't count on that ever happening, because the governments will never come together and do something the same.
No.
Right, exactly. Here's the thing.
I would not agree with that. I wouldn't say that's true at all.
They'll try. They'll make it hard, and they'll work with their corporate collaborators. But here's the thing: we live in the attention era. My investment thesis is this, and then I'm going to jump down for a little bit. Let some folks talk. My investment thesis is this: we live in the intention era, and in the intention era, the most entertaining outcome is the most likely.
Look, Johan, you understand, you know, how these operatives work. But for everybody to understand, to understand this perspective, the government of a country, even the U.S., is not necessarily the powers that be.
Correct.
When you look at Haiti, this is a non-conspiracy conversation. This is more example of, let's say, how they were systematically, you know, attacked through finance, and then most people don't realize that Haiti in the 100 years ago, like, was 34% producer of the world's rice, right? Like, literally, Haiti was that efficient. It produced that much agricultural output. It was a rich country in that sense. Now, when you look at talking about
Aristide, when he was toppled by the Clintons?
Yeah, but let's take a step back when we look at the first UN debt that was initiated, right? What ended up happening there? They basically created a scenario where it's a very complex agricultural case, but at the end of the day, Haiti ended up owing the United Nations, like, you know, for debt to actually cover its own country, and then they paid with the product, and then later on it got systemized and it got broken down so that it no longer had any power and became poor as shit, right? Mm-hmm. But the debt that was created there, linking to other countries' debt, and these type of controls in countries, it can be linked to a single anonymous royal family, and you can actually look at it how it's filed in the UN when these debts were actually issued from the back. And by the way, just so you know, I've actually dealt with the UN on their finance side, right? And so I actually was surprised that there were these like anonymous quote unquote donors for very specific kinds of projects. And so it's not like your government, et cetera, et cetera. No, these guys there's like big money powers out there that are literally getting countries to owe them money.
Yeah, that's exactly how it works. Well, welcome. You know, we live in this like the corpo state thing. But yeah,
well, they pump and dump economies, right? So
Yeah.
you know, from Panama. So like my family's from Panama. So like I've seen a little bit of this over the last like 15 years or so. They infuse a lot of money into the regional banks. What happens is they loan out to everyone, right? Businesses specifically that have a lot of assets. These people start spending money, they get into debt, they buy Hummers, they buy Lambos, they buy all this shit. I made it, I'm rich. And then the fall comes. And if their cash to income ratio is fucked, they're getting your assets and now the bank owns it, which means the donor owns it. And then they're able to control infrastructure and capitalize off of the revenue streams of an entire society.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's happening here.
You're forgetting the step before that. The step before that is they select a set of families that would control everybody else under their control. So that's right before that step, they actually pick who the country's next gods are.
That's not entirely inaccurate. How about that?
Hey, Jahan, before you go, a quick question for you. I'm curious. Do you think we are alone
in the universe?
Yeah.
I'm still debating if the universe is real.
Very good. Very good. Bud. I like that.
Great answer. Great answer.
Oh, man.
All right, on that, I'm going to jump off speaker. Let someone come on the stage, but thank you very much, guys, for the talk.
Hey, man, I appreciate you being here. You are more than welcome to come up here anytime, and that goes for everybody. That's one of the things that we pride ourselves here at What Three Breakfast is that is a show for the community by the community, man. So anytime anybody ever wants to pop up here, just raise your hand to speak. You are more than welcome to share your opinions, your thoughts, your ideas. We just have one rule: it's don't be a douchebag. That means no racists, no sexist, no homophobes. I know there's a lot of bullshit going on in our space right now. That will not be tolerated here. You do anything like that, you are gone and you are never welcome back.
Yeah, fuck that shit.
Yeah, Caesar.
Yeah. No, not
Hey,
no.
Don't be accusing me of shit, man.
No.
J Chains, can I ask you the same question?
Ask me a question. Yes.
No, same question. Do you think we're alone?
Man, you put me on the spot. You get me my goggles that let me see some other wavelengths and some frequencies, and then I'll be able to make a more educated opinion on that. Do I have like feelings of like on a spiritual level? Yes, I could understand that. Like there are spirits that kind of reside among the shadows or whatever. I don't even know how to say that shit. Do I believe in ghosts and do I believe in aliens? No, but I understand that there's probably some shit because I understand that we are all just energy. That's what I understand, is that we're all energy and all that shit is all just energy. But but like this some of the stuff that like Seven we were talking about the other day at your house, where like it's like we're not even, this isn't even real. This is just kind of what our brain believes that we're seeing or something like that. That's just crazy, man. I'm not there quite yet. I need a few more of these. We do a few more of these conspiracy theory weeks, like and then I'll be drinking from the Kool-Aid a little bit more. But right now, man, I just took a little sip. It's a little sipski.
Jay, check this out. We are all tripping oxygen. We breathe in oxygen and it is manifesting our reality. We are tripping balls from the moment we take our first breath to the moment we take our last.
Cool. So then what happens when you take acid or when you take mushrooms or you do DMT? If you're already tripping, you can't trip. It's like the thing like in the it's the movie, man. Like we're already pulled over. You can't pull over anymore.
You vibrate differently.
You disrupt the matrix.
Yeah, you completely shoot yourself out of the matrix. So you're looking outside. You're outside looking in. Literally like you're watching the movie. In the scene in the Matrix where Morpheus and Neo are in the white room. I've literally stood in the white room like 4 times, dude.
Dude, I was just thinking about that quote. Where he's talking about what is real. Like,
what is real? What is exactly real?
How do you describe real?
Yeah, how do you describe real? Like,
you think that's air you're breathing?
Nah. Okay, well, there you go. Like Zima, to be completely honest, when you wave your hand back and forth, you can feel the air. Why do you feel it?
Because you make a wave. Because you disrupt the stillness.
What's there? What disrupt the stillness of what?
Butterfly blinked.
There's molecules.
A tsunami on the other side of the world took place sometime later.
So that's not real. Like that wind that when I go like this, if you're watching on the live stream, I can swat a little wind at my hand, and I can feel that cool breeze on my palm. That is not real. That's what you're telling me. I'm making that up.
Seven believes it's water. He believes that it's water.
Well, air
like a lighter, denser water.
On screen.
It is.
Right? So let's think
it's called condensation, bro. With the evaporation. You learn this school.
Can we break this down a little bit? Okay, so to me, everything is inputs and outputs, right? Blockchain, you have transactions going on, ins, outs, right? We're participating in a blockchain economy. When we're breathing, we're in, oxygen out. That's part of the oxygen economy, right? When we're taking mushrooms and we're participating in a network of ins and outs of psilocybin experiences. All of these ins and outs are different systems. The different systems have different protocols that we express as beings because we ourselves are a culmination of inputs and outputs interacting with the inputs and outputs of other systems. So our protocols get affected by those protocols, and it affects our visualization, our senses, our sensory, and influences how we think, how we move.
This is binary thinking, though. Let's not forget that. All right, 1 and 0 on yes or no, in and out. Right.
But it is binary.
No, but it's not binary. Binary thinking is yes or no, true or false. Right
here. So mathematics tells us
mathematics
and I have in the other until infinity. Right?
Mathematics tells us now
let's
that there is in and out.
Let him finish his point
yes
first.
And no, and there is a superposition, right? All right, go ahead.
But at infinity, everything breaks down. The laws of physics, the laws of math, all of it breaks down. It's in the first plane you have a dot. The dot can't move. In the secondary, in the 2D plane, we have a line, point A, point B. In the third dimension, we have above. The fourth dimension, we have through and throughout. In the fifth dimension, it's all ascension and the opposite of ascension, which I can't remember the word. So like, we have 11 dimensions of thought, supposedly, right? That go all the way up until like the infinite realm, right? So we're here in this petri dish where 11 dimensions are possible, and there's probably a whole infinite mess of more where it all just turns into a giant entity of inputs and outputs. It's a universal cosmic mind that controls literally itself, and itself is everything.
Okay. So my point was that, well, actually, I do agree with the range that you're talking about, right? But to see everything as the inputs and outputs, and like believe me, there's no one that appreciates that more than me right now. I do dive into math very deeply. But when you talk about the things that we understand today, right? And it's actually like 100 years you understand this stuff, right? There is such a thing as a concept of a superposition, which is literally outside the realm of what we understand as classical mechanics, right? And you have to remember, when we talk about things that don't exist in time, things that exist in all of time, things that are both that encompass past, present, and future at any given moment. This is the stuff that we are literally made of. This is literally like our atomic structure. So it doesn't not exist. I mean, it's actually it's us all this whole entire time, right? And the problem that we have with science and even all of these things, why we call them conspiracies and whatnot, is because every scientific thing is only related to our human version of senses. Eyes is what we can see, right? And what's that? We can smell, taste, and touch. Our physical senses are the only judge that we have of what we would consider real or not real in terms of how we observe the rest of the world. If one had more senses, then that also becomes part of the observation, right? So unfortunately, the commonality between the common things and the most the easiest thing to understand is what we all can agree on as a physical commonality, right? But the biggest challenge is and why even science itself has a trouble defining what the word, observation and consciousness is because it's not a recognized sense. Even though these senses, it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It's just that we haven't adopted it as a common knowledge. But remember, every single thing that we're talking about, we always try to relate things that are that are misunderstood to us based on our senses. But if you observe how other creatures have different senses, they will describe the same exact thing in a very different way. But it's just in relation to us as humans in terms of how we can understand anything. But that's only today, right? That's only because so we built tools. We built tools that can sense things that we can't do. Like we can see things that are microscopic. We can sense frequencies. We can sense waves. We can actually create. We have to create tools, but we always translate the information from that back to something we can understand from our five senses. So that's the limitation that we're working with, right?
Yeah, 100%. Let's see, Caesar. Let's go Caesar, and then let's go Badger.
Had his hand up first.
All right, let's go Badger first.
So I forgot my comment on this last particular discussion at this point, but I remembered an earlier comment I wanted to make to what Zima said, and I do agree and believe. And there's even some what Jay Chains would call proof, physical or observable proof, to where science and religion are starting to find common grounds because of quantum mechanics and quantum physics, Zima, to your point earlier. And so that creates an interesting observation because up until now, talking about aliens or other beings or spirituality or spiritual things or that are beyond what the Bible describes has been a little bit taboo. For that reason is that it threatens religion. It threatens the principles that perhaps the society has been built, which is why perhaps the church is hiding a lot of the history that may be out there that may make some connection, or they'd like it to be hidden anyway. And with that, it allows anything to be possible. Quantum mechanics, it changes the game. So it's quite interesting of what we're observing and how there's a whole movement of people that believe this and support this or have found a way to connect to these energies and this possibilities to where they commit their life to it because they don't need anything else, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. And that goes back to what are we able to achieve anything, and going back to inputs and outputs, I think that simplifies it. I think everybody's a creator once we realize that we are these spiritual beings just having a human experience. And if we find a way to tap into those abilities and explore higher senses than what we're limited from being born to understand, is like you only have these five senses and that's it and nothing else exists. If we can get past that with our beliefs, then the sky's the limit and the possibilities are endless. And that also brings up another conversation that was also touched upon, is our minds. Those are our most powerful tools. And there's the theory, I don't know if you want to call it a theory, I think the practice has been proven in many ways. When you focus your energies, your beliefs, and your experiences and feelings, you can manifest anything you want because of how we're connected on a deeper level to one another, making this whole matrix work for us as opposed to us for it, and not be a victim. And because of how powerful we are, because we're a lot more than just humans on this 3D, 4D plane.
Hey, can I piggyback on the manifestation for a second?
Go for it.
So, I find that interesting because, my first introduction to the spiritual nature of things was an actual spiritual experience, something that I had that I couldn't explain. It was very spiritual. There was things around me. It was nature driven. And something said something to me, right? So very shortly after that, I fell into like the traditional woke rabbit hole, right? I found the fucking secret. I read the fucking secret, learned about manifestation, but it didn't really click with me. I was like, this manifestation shit, yeah, it sounds good. And yeah, I can manifest some things, but I also can't manifest other things, right? I can't manifest the fucking Lambo, hard as I fucking try, right? But then I discovered something, and they're actually somebody who was a YouTube influencer. They took some things from the Hermetic principles and quantized them into something that he referred to as quantum manifestation. Right. The entity that I was talking about, the universal cosmic mind that is itself and is everything, and it has a specific set of wants and needs, right? Like any organism, like any being, has a specific set of wants and needs as an individual, right? So think about that for a second. If the entity itself has wants and needs, the subsidiary systems of those entities, which is humanity, and the subsidiary systems of that, which is an individual human being, right? We have wants and needs. If our wants and needs do not coincide with what the larger entities want for themselves, we find what's called friction, right? These things become more difficult. We have hard time. Don't understand why nothing's working. This is like falling out of sync, or what they call the dead man walking, which is the Native American that's able to walk into the tornado and walk right the fuck out with not one thing happening to him, but having death, imminent death on either side of him within millimeters, right? So, if you're able to think about what the world wants and needs for itself, and you align with those things, manifestation becomes a thing that accelerates in your individual life. I mean, there are perfect examples of this in our current paradigm, right? So like Elon Musk is a perfect example, right? Elon Musk had something, a vision that we didn't even know at the time aligned with what the world wants and absolutely needs for itself. Because of that, he is one of the most, he is the richest public-facing man on planet Earth, right? So let's think about that for a second. Manifestation, yeah, but I think it has rules, it has constraints, it has a set of parameters that you need to follow in order for manifestation to take hold in your life.
So, Sheesh, what do you? How would you tie this also into like astral projection? If you have an opinion or a comment about that.
I think there is a multiple entity that has a subsidiary group of astral beings that also have a set and wants and needs for itself, which if we align with those wants and needs, we accelerate also. So like I think like when it comes to living with the land and not on the land, I think that is a paradigm that accelerate in the same way, you know, Elon said EVs are going to be the necessity for the world in the future, right? I think the land is suffering. I think the earth is suffering. The world isn't getting what it needs from humanity. And if we don't do something about it, shit's going to get real, right? So humanity is not going to be able to line up with those wants and needs for the world. And so because of that, humanity will suffer. And I think that there's these spiritual beings that are managing these kind of things. And these astral planes are just mediums for these beings to do their work.
So I'm going to jump in there if I may. I want to touch, because you on some of those topics, you touched on a lot of different angles, and it's not as simple as that. We started with manifesting and manifestation, and I do believe we're all-powerful beings and we can manifest whatever we set our mind to. Now, having said that, yeah, it's not as simple as like, oh yeah, okay, I'm going to snap my fingers and it's going to be so. Nothing's going to happen unless we take actions. I think every every life coach out there will tell you this: without action you can't have anything. So how do you expect to be happy unless you take some action in towards that goal that you want to support yourself? So regardless what action you take, the universe and the energies and your astral beings and your spiritual guides, everybody and their mother above them will support you in your endeavor, whatever it is. Now, there's also a difference whether that endeavor is light focused or dark focused, because now you're messing with two different yin yangs, and there's got to be a balance in this universe. Not gotta, there is a balance in this universe. So if we take from one place, it's going to go to the other. So if we contribute to the greater common good, to, like you say, what's necessary for the land. If we take care of the land, absolutely, the land's going to take care of us, but not because it is required to be so, but because those that just amplifies your intentions, and it's all about intentions and actions and understanding how those what was the word I just said it earlier, how those energies work, and how those physics and quantum physics work, and relate to one another and support one another. They're like building blocks. It's no different than tweeting a tweet and then asking folks to retweet it to amplify that, because it all brings to the common goal. It's no different than that.
I want to link
and sorry, and one other comment I wanted to make is you that you brought up. You made a point is, and I heard some of that, and based on what you said is because you touched on many different angles. If we can't manifest something, we can't look externally and say, "Oh no, this doesn't work. It only works in some sense and not others." Well, why does it work in others and not some or not all? I believe that is certain blocks that we have within us that are preventing us from having that for whatever reason, in many ways. Whether it be a lesson, whether we need to grow up, whether because we don't have the right narrative, whether we don't have or support the right belief within us that we deserve this, whatever it is the energy should be focused on discovering that and keep doing everything else.
So I want to connect it back. Was it Caesar? Did you ask the question regarding astral projection, the manifestation? Is that you? How you connected?
Yeah, that was me asking about it because I find that it's tied into a lot of what you guys
there's a very direct story that you guys may. So I'm going to go back to the Emerald tablets, right? So the Emerald tablets actually originated as part of the writings of Thoth, who is, according to this whole thing, he is the first pharaoh. The story goes back to him actually being a survivor, or one of his origins are from Atlantis. And now the thing is, it wasn't like he survived Atlantis. The story goes, he was actually part of the group there that was training on a very high spiritual, practice, right? And but he transcended all of them in this way. He was, he details it in the book. He basically says he found himself being able to, be conscious in his sleep, and during his sleep he was able to, quote unquote, how you could say, astral project. And then he describes this tie, this chain that our soul has to our body. And what he did was he made a conscious choice to sever from his body, his sleeping body, so that he can actually be a spirit. He did it consciously. When he did this, and oddly enough, there was a Disney cartoon around this whole thing, right? He transformed himself into a bird, and as a bird, he actually traveled the universe. And that is when he goes in details in these tablets that he discovered man is spaceborne. He found worlds where man actually was there, and specifically one very unique world where man had mastered pure thought manifestation, pure thought, everything physical. So he actually stayed with them. After a while, he began to realize that he was from Earth, so there is a connection with Earth and his soul. So he went all the way back, and then he used what he learned from that other world to manifest himself into a body again, and thus he initiated the storyline of the first pharaoh. But it also connects because apparently that's why there's a bird image of him, as in those Egyptian hieroglyphs, right? It actually connects all the way down to that storyline. So manifestation in itself is actually an ancient story and directly related its origins from astral projection.
Well, there you go. Turbo, do you have the X-Files music?
Fucking Jay, I love you, bro.
I do. I'm here. I'm coming. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. We in there. Yep. Mm-hmm. Man, I'm just like I'm like trying to keep up with all this stuff, man. Like I thought I was one of those people that had a bunch of like that was way out there, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just like I'm just on a little baby. Yeah, we lightweights, you know what I'm saying? But that's why we got the best doggone community, you know what I'm saying? In the Web3, in the Web2, man. I'll be the first to say, man, every single person that comes and shows up is absolutely incredible.
Absolutely. Well, this has been day 2 of Conspiracy Theory Week here on Web3 Breakfast. We appreciate you guys tuning in. We will be back tomorrow. We want to keep you wanting more. So tune back in tomorrow, 10 a.m. That is Wednesday, for a little bit more conspiracy theory talk. We love you guys. Appreciate you being here. And we'll see you tomorrow. Stay weird.
Stay